nobody's ever going to come and tell you that we're going to give you this right. Every time you'll have to fight for it. And so to make your presence known and to occupy a space in some sector, you really have to fight hard. But I think the first people who take the first step, who are the pioneers in that thing, they're the ones who have to fight for most of the battles. But that makes things easier for the people who come after them, so for the next generations. Probably, if we want to take Pakistan in the right direction, then I think we need to focus on these things. And I think travel is something that needs to be way more inclusive for women. Because right now you don't see presence of women in this industry in terms of tour operators, talk about hotels, talk about tour guides, talk about transporters. You won't find women in any of these fields. So it's only, I mean, maybe government can play their part, where they can probably give some sort of incentives or subsidies or things that encourage more women to come forward. And kind of also, I think in terms of promoting tourism also, I think having female presence, it kind of gives a very soft image of a country. For example, when people go to Hunza and they see that women are just playing volleyball there and they can just walk freely on the streets. Even when the tourists, a lot of foreign tourists, when they go there, it gives them an idea of feeling safe in that place. I mean, even when I go there, I feel safe if I want to wake up at 3 a.m. and go out for a walk. I would probably not feel that safe doing that in Lahore, but I feel safe doing that in Hunza. So this is something that needs to change.
So, in your experience, have things changed for women recently, or do you think that we still have I'm sure we have a long way to go, but do you think we have a ridiculously long way to go?
So, I think slowly things are changing because a lot of, there are a lot of initiatives it's a buzzword, women empowerment is a buzzword now. Some people really mean it, and the initiatives that are taken, they're really fruitful and they're productive. But sometimes, when something that just becomes that popular, some people also just want to cash in on that opportunity and do things that, for their benefit, they don't necessarily believe in the same cause. But they would just do things because that's going to give them more attention. So I think it's really important that the right causes really get that attention, and it's actually helpful for women in the long term.
So thank you so much for that. I'm sure we have a way to go, but we're getting there. So hopefully we'll have more inclusive.
So you have to take the right steps. I mean, you can't really ensure, but at least every person. You can't really say that I didn't have that opportunity and I could have done that, and he didn't give me that opportunity. You yourself are to blame. You should be the change you want to see in the world. At least do things, and at least you might not be able to change the world, but you can change the surroundings. You can change. You might be able to affect the lives of the people around you. 10 people, 2 people. It doesn't really matter. But if everybody comes with that mentality, it can change things.
Definitely. So mentality and trying to influence those around you is an integral part of going towards inclusion. So I almost feel like we've divided the panel into two very strategically and consciously. But I will now come over to Mohammed bin Masood. So Mohammed, you've been doing a lot of adventure tourism in Pakistan. And usually, at least in my bias, adventure tourism in Pakistan is something that I don't think of as safe. It could be a very personal bias as well. But it's very exciting to see that you have been in adventure tourism, and how is that for you doing in Pakistan? How your experience has been, and how it's safe or not?
Hello. So my journey in this pretty much started however I didn't have a house in Korea. So I was 6 weeks old when I was first brought in Incubator with my parents, and then from there onwards they have been just at the age of 15, I've been to all of these places that are now called touristy. So at the 6 months, I was at Settlement, and then in Hunza, I was at the age of 3, I was there, and then the age of 5, and 10, and 15. So I've been to all of these places. The Osai wasn't even a place for the tourists. There wasn't even a road or any institutional body or villages. I have been all over the place, and I've camped over there as well. So this is very deeply rooted within my DNA now to be an adventurous, and wherever I go, whatever I do, I look for the most difficult situations and then how to overcome them. And then, just like Mura said, it's very therapeutic. When you're working 9 to 5 all day now, that we're part of these lives, it just gives you a relief once in a year to just go back to the mountains and valleys and then really relive that moment. Now, coming towards your question, I think Pakistan is really fortunate to have 5 of the highest peaks in the world out of the 14 8,000ers. And this actually, in the mountaineering community, in the adventurous community, it highlights us as a very significant nation. And this is a really big opportunity for us as a nation to promote all of these adventure activities. But whilst along with that, promoting it within our communities, within our sports, within our bodies, within our country, as an activity, as an avenue for projection of the country as well. Because these speaks, people from all over the world, they spend considerable investments just coming here to climb them. And being a part of this, now I've really understood the ecosystem, and I've understood that it's those people, those foreigners, those European people, Americans, they love this place. They love the Karakoram Range and Himalayas and Hindu Kush that we have over here. It's us that we're really now starting to discover the potential that those have. Which is why from when I started to do decent trekking, I ventured into mountaineering. So now, just to clarify here, trekking and hiking is something that you're doing on regular 3-4 day tracks. But mountaineering, it becomes when you're starting to climb a mountain and goes up to all the way to Thousanders, Skedu, Naga Parbat, Broad Peak, and all of that, Dashargams. So when I ventured into mountaineering, I realized that Pakistan, like a very small percentage of Pakistanis are into this. But other than that, it's all foreigners, and they really enjoy the sport, and they cherish it, and they know this local peaks and local routes and local peaks better than us. But with this recent influx of tourism, a lot of these youngsters are also starting to come in. But while they're coming in, there's also a huge lack of infrastructure for them, huge lack of training. There isn't a single accredited climbing school in Pakistan. So that's when I recently realized that I'm positioned in a very good place to be able to advocate that, to be able to bridge this gap between all of this that's happening in Pakistan as well, and to really build a career in this sport as well, to build a career to be an adventurous. So being a photographer, like a mountaineer and a photographer, I've had an opportunity to capture one of the greatest moments this country has to offer, from K2 to Broad Peak, all the way to Golden Peak, which was my last year's summit. And I see a bunch of partners over here who had been really fortunate and really supportive of my summit, and then they helped me get there. So I escaped a near-death situation over there. I fell into a crevice like multiple times, and then I had water in my lungs, and then I came down all the way. But all of this just to make me realize that this shouldn't be happening to us, because the only reason why this is happening to us is because we're not trained enough. This isn't something that we have been taught, and this isn't something that we've been doing. And while all the foreigners, they're really inclined and trained towards it, which led to this concept of creating something that would enable local audiences, local people, local youth to get involved in such activities. And they are being involved, it's just that it's a lot really directionless. It's all over the place. So that's when I started my initiative of never being tired. Like Kabhi Bande Nahi Hai, it's like the ultimate form of freedom, that you can just really get out of your shell and live freely. Which also sheds light on a few things that you guys talked about. And then until never being tired, it's a very fluid thing. What we want to do is we want to bridge the pieces together. We know that we have a beautiful landscape and an amazing country and so many peaks to climb. Thousands of 6,000 and 7,000 thousanders other than the 8,000 peaks. And we have this huge youth bulge as well. So at the end of the day, with all the other sports, with all the other activities, cricket, football, hockey, a lot of people would venture into this in the future. And they would need guidance, they would need support, they would need sponsorship, they would need equipment, they would need technical advice. And that's exactly where I've positioned myself. To be able to just help them get there, create more climbers, create more mountaineers out of this, and create an entire ecosystem for the Pakistani audience, while learning from people all across the world.
Cool. Thank you so much. Now I'll move to the food side of the panel and speak briefly about food, and then I guess we can open it to a couple of questions from the audience if the panel is comfortable. Okay, so food, as Pakistanis, I think food is our favorite hobby. It is our favorite passion as well. So food is, for me at least personally, it's an integral part of your tourist experience outside of your day-to-day life. So Noor, as a foodie yourself and as somebody that is in the service industry for food in the tourism industry, how has your experience been with how food is managed in the tourism sector, and if that ever influenced your work in the service industry of food?
First of all, thank you so much to the campaign invited me to this wonderful event. Because this is more focused on the tourism, so I start with my experience into traveling to Pakistan. 5 to 6 years back, I used to look at the pictures of Switzerland and Italy, and then now for the last 4 to 5 years, I started traveling with my family within the Pakistan, especially in the northern areas, like Neelam Valley in Azad Kashmir and Shura and Babu Sartong. And after visiting these places, believe me, Switzerland is no more attraction to me now. Because, and not only the northern areas, I think I have visited only the Neelam Valley 3 times in the last 4 years, and one cannot get enough of the beauty of the Neelam Valley specifically. So, if we talk about the food, just like the amazing destination in Pakistan and its diverse culture and specifically preserved culture, we are also blessed with the amazing and delicious cuisines, Pakistani cuisine. I can also share my experience with some foreigners because my husband had some US-based clients and we arranged a meeting 2 years back in Dubai. And the moment they arrived at the hotel, they asked us to, they just want the Pakistani food. And believe me, they used to eat dal chawal in their breakfast, and even in the snacks, naan and whatever the main meal was. So, and when we showed them the pictures of Pakistan, not with the professional photograph, just a random clips for with a mobile or camera, and they were like, "Are you serious? Is this the Pakistan? Are you serious?" So, I think it's our collective responsibility to promote our culture and like Madhya Neelam said earlier, let's stop making excuses and stop complaining about Pakistan, especially our youngsters who had a lot of potential. So if if you talk about food, as food is also very important part in the value chain of tourism. And we are blessed from, if you talk about Gilgit to Karachi, there is a different variety. Like, I was in Lahore in January, and my husband dragged our whole family in the 6 a.m. in the January to take us to the Andrune Lahore party gate to just have that amazing pie. And obviously everyone enjoyed it. And not only in Pakistan, I have experiences that the people from abroad they also admire us and like our food.
Thank you so much. So taking the food conversation forward, Umar, you run Sweet Tooth, you work with the best of the food that is to be offered. So can you tell us briefly about what we talked about your Skyline vision, which is really exciting, which I really want everyone else to hear. So your Skyline vision, how food is a part of your work that you do in tourism, and then specifically about your work with social responsibility integrated in tourism.
Similar to coding about the Skyline of Pakistan, and we want to be the one representing Pakistan, so it empowers them with great responsibilities. So if we are being the skyline, and if we are being the one representing Pakistan, so the responsibility lies on our shoulders that whoever is coming, what are we providing? The start of you must have heard about Shahi Hammam. Shahi Hammam is a 17th century restored heritage monument in Pakistan. So, Alhamdulillah, I have that and I built Shahi Betek in it. So, the whole vision was how we can bridge everyone together using food. So, all the Guras coming in Pakistan, they usually miss out on the most nicest places. Like they couldn't go to Jeddah, Rasiwala, Taj, Wala. So when I took over Shahi Hammam and launched the Shahi Wedding, so it was a part that the menu and everything that we serve there, it's the best of Lahore, it's the best restored heritage monument in Pakistan. So everyone was like, why won't you go to Rome? And I was like, why we want people coming in to experience what the true culture of Lahore is. So what I did was I ended up with all the best eateries of Lahore. There was Jilli, Gilisi, Taj, Kalba, Sadi, Kupi, Kajira, Valley Abbottabad, and I brought them all together under one roof at Shahi Betek. So nothing else would have complemented what Shahi Hammam was. That was how culturally rich we were and how lost we were. So when I started executing that, everybody was like, that was the part of giving back to the society, uplifting those people who came in the street. So I put up same goes with sweet tooth. With sweet tooth, I'm just reselling food, it's we what we are giving back to the society. I've been into mountaineering, I've attempted catering in 2015, I've been traveling. So every time, whenever we're hosting somebody from the outside, we don't get to see good places up in the north. Everybody's traveling up north, but everybody's complaining. So the vision was, with my expansion policy, we're currently 7 restaurants in Lahore. So whenever we used to, since I wanted to represent Pakistan, we recently opened up Sweet Tooth Hirafandi. It was a name we were too shy to take, but this was our culture. I wanted the revival of the culture that how arts was implied, and that is how I built up that place. So from that top, you will see the best skyline of Lahore. Then moving up, we currently have 7 restaurants in Lahore. We're the first one to employ transgenders. And then we have a team of the assembly line where everything is made. We have employed very able disabled people. So there are currently more than 40 disabled people working at Sweet Tooth. Since I wanted to test out how good our SOPs are, I planned opening up in the most motor area, so I aimed going up north. So I moved in, we opened up in Monza like 3 years ago. So that was a time when there was no Punjabi and a guy in the apartment mentioning me in Monza. So there was a little hindrance. But I really wanted to bridge the gap. For that, we did a concert that was done on 14th August. I really wanted to bridge the differences and bring everyone close together. So with the expansion, once we started Monza, we started Nathiri. They just started with a month gap. When we did the Nathiri one, the one in Dungavi, there was no concept of getting gloves, like 3 or 5. Hygiene was really bad. So since we lifted it up, everything started, the idea was setting a precedent a little high for the others to follow. Then came up Sweet Tooth Lake Abbottabad. So the skyline was incomplete, so we took the best view of the Abbottabad Lake, that's basically the viewpoint. So when I did that, I really wanted that, since it's all about, everybody's talking about ecotourism, everybody's talking about building things that has the least footprint. So that is Pakistan's first eco-friendly restaurant. We have negated plastic over there. We're not even using the tissue boxes. Doesn't even have a plastic pop staying into it. So we are doing our solid waste management. We're using our own waste to make manure over there, and we are doing plantation over there. So the precedent that I've tried setting up is not just providing good food, it's using food to do things that lag. So we have an open mic going on at all the Sweet Tooths. Tomorrow has done one at Sweet Tooth Mwaling Road. So there's always a concert going on. There's always something happening. So the idea was promoting music. Music is done. So I really wanted to lift that place up. So it's not just selling food. It's a platform to do multiple things. And since we have done, we have been to all the locations that everyone cannot miss us. So if anyone coming from the outside, they'll have to go through us. So that's the vision.
That is really exciting. So Sweet Tooth has been doing a lot of work around social responsibility outside of the business that they do. And it is, I think it's integral when it comes to experiences that as businesses, although there are different stakeholders involved in making the experience for tourists better, but businesses can play their role as well in terms of...
The best part was whenever there are like foreigners coming in the way like the shy meeting thing, before that it was not a, they were not allowed access to all the eateries that were like there even before Pakistan was there. So nobody could have showed them that thing by Shai Bettega was able to do that. By Sweet Tooth, I remember traveling up north, I've seen people jump out with joy that, oh, there's a Sweet Tooth there. Like they've been traveling for 10 straight hours after crossing Mansehra or eating anything on the way. And the moment they land in Karimabad and they just find Sweet Tooth and they're like, yes, here? Is it for real it's here? Like logistics are hard. But since our recipes are well defined and we've been giving back to society and doing all these things, so everybody is so socially attached to us that we feel very happy about it.
So you have a lot of loyal customers that come in for social responsibility. I feel like we have to wind up, but I'd ask one last question of Moru. So speaking of social responsibility for experiential tourism, what matters to, I think, the new generation tourists is that they would usually look up places online and learn about experiences of other people. So as a social media influencer, do you think influencers should be held accountable to a responsibility standard where they have to promote things that are culturally sensitive, that promotes the values of those cultures? Or do you think that's just an unrealistic expectation considering the kind of influence that they have?
I don't think it's an unrealistic expectation. I find that I'm personally very curious about the cultures within Pakistan, and when I went to Kailash Valley, I found a sort of culture that I felt like was at the brink of being lost. But since then, there has been like some UNESCO, it's been declared a UNESCO heritage site, etc. So there's been an attempt to keep it safe. But I think since I myself am describing a personal journey as I'm going through it, I tend to be very sensitive about other cultures and I'm curious at the same time. I find that might rub off onto the individual as a personal narrative passes through you existentially as you're watching the content itself. So my main aim ultimately is to entertain people and to give them some sort of eye candy. So that and Pakistan is not devoid of any of it. I mean, you can just walk outside right now and you'll see a lot of eye candy. But it is one of the most. I've traveled from the south of America to the north of America on the north-south east side, and I have not seen anything as beautiful as the Passu Cathedral cones, for example, or I crossed the Buttura Glacier to go to Yashpur. I have not seen anything as beautiful as that in my journey over there. So it's very easy for me to show the eye candy. But in the process of showing the eye candy and entertaining people, I do try to take it upon myself to kind of show that if I'm going to be throwing a wrapper, that it goes into a waste paper basket. Or that if I'm experiencing the culture, I actually become a part of it and I dance with the Kailashi women. So that I try to get an experience of it myself. And then too, I remember one of the worst things that I got as a comment, which was meant as a compliment, but I took it as an insult, was once I saw your Naran vlog, I didn't want to go there anymore because I'd seen everything. And ever since then, I was like, I gotta say something by the end of it that explains to them that there's nothing like actually going there yourself. You've got two eyes, you've got ears, you've got a nose, you smell things, and there's only one
sensory perception, or two actually, oral and visual sensory perception that are engaged by it. But when you actually go, you experience it in a new way. So I try to encourage people to do that, and I personally take it upon myself as a responsibility, but I don't think for entertainers there is that responsibility in general. It's an individualistic thing. If you grew up in that sort of a thing where you want to hold on to the cultures that you're losing, like he is with the Shahi Kela, he's trying to hold on to things and then promoting music and arts. I would like to see, the Hindu Kush, which has a pagan tribe known as the Kalashi, which is a combination of many different religions and is a beautiful dance culture around it too. I'd like for people to cherish it and to hold on to it. So that's it.
Thank you so much. So I think we've ran out of time for the panel. But to conclude this, I would say that tourism or traveling for people in Pakistan or outside is a different experience for everyone, whoever is doing this, whether it's female, whether it's adventure, whether it's food, whether it's vlogging it and showing it to the rest of the world. But overall, we see that we have a lot of hope in how we're going about this. We have a lot of hope in people who are trying to cater to different sides of it, whether it's preserving the culture or making it more inclusive or promoting the kinds of tourism that we initially did not see for our own cultures or our own people. Thank you so much for being here and being on this panel. It was a pleasure and honor to have you guys here. Thanks so much.